Hey, welcome everyone to Midway Radio. It's your boy Carlos, and just like we did last time, we got the Midway documentary team together because we want to talk about current events, and we want to talk about how that influences everything that's going on in the hip-hop community, in the Black community, in the community in general. And without further ado, what we're going to do is get right into it by introducing the one and only DJ Sean Joe.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome.
Thank you.
And then let's follow that up with the other DJ Risky Business.
What's up, lovely people?
Hola. Let's bring in some academics, some folks that get their read on. You guys welcome Amani Conley.
It's good, everybody. Peace.
Let's go ahead and bring in some, some graph writers. We got B-Boy B and his goggles.
Yo, how's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Excellent.
Let's bring up the rear with the director of the project, the one and only Ryan Brockmeyer.
What's up, everybody?
Hello. How is everyone this week?
Anything
exciting? Anything exciting happening in our life?
It's crazy. It's crazy when you said academics. The only thing I can think of is this thing with DJ Academics and Freddie Gibbs, and that's hilarious. So big ups Freddie Gibbs and all the memes that DJ Academics is getting, because he deserves being treated. So fuck that guy.
I don't even follow that social media stuff like that, but I know of Academics and his shenanigans just through his nonsense with bigging up weird, Academics need to get his mouth checked, and I'm glad Freddie Gibbs is going at him.
Freddie Gibbs put his face on a Teletubby, and he's selling the shirt. Oh my God! By buying this Teletubby Academic shirt. It's hilarious.
You know, I watched him and Buttons and the sister Nadia, was it?
Is that on State of the Culture?
No, not that one. The other show that they had before Joe Buttons left and they pulled in Buck Wild. What was the name of it? That's funny. I stopped watching.
I remember it, but who was watching?
Wasn't it the Joe Buttons show?
No. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't called Joe Buttons. Can't remember, but that's irrelevant. I remember Academics from then. So yeah, that's he's getting what he deserves. If Gibbs is giving it to him, then I hope Gibbs is really giving it to him. I hope he's giving it to him Midwest style, like for real.
Yeah, I remember when Vic Mensa went in at him.
Yeah. Vic Mensa.
That's where I know the whole beef that he did something to Vic, said something sideways, or Vic went off on his show or something. So yeah,
he was bigging up a lot of the stuff that was going on in Chicago, a lot of the negative stuff. And I think Vic Mensa was like, "Yo, if I see you, I'ma handle you," on some Chicago shit. And
that's contributed to that's big up in the violence that Academics is big up in. But
it's crazy how somebody from the Midwest got to go represent like that. Freddie Gibbs is from the Midwest. Matter of fact, we probably
down
need
the street, pretty much.
We probably need to interview Freddie Gibbs for a Midwest.
I've definitely been on the trail trying to lock down Freddie, because to me, Gary is still Chicago, part of the Chicago world, so it's its own thing. And I don't want to when we talk to people from Indiana or Gary, I don't want them to feel like we're lumping Gary, because Gary's its own thing. It has its own culture. So I don't want them to feel like, you're just lumped in with Chicago, because no, I think you should be proud to be a Gary artist, right?
Big ups Daily Planet.
Yeah, Daily Planet for sure. But I definitely feel that Freddie is so connected to Chicago because the proximity, and we're sister cities, connected.
I'm pretty sure he feels the same way too with songs like dedicated to Harold's Chicken and like
Hey, there's a Harold's out in Gary. There's Harold's in Gary. I'm just saying.
I was gonna say on academics, the one thing when we were talking about Vic and academics, the one thing I think Vic saw is how I saw academics is he was glorifying and perpetuating all the violence that was happening within the music.
Yes.
It wasn't. He would kind of mask it like, oh, we're checking the music, but he really was more interested in the glorification of it because it simply brought more views and hits and clicks to him. So he was using all the violence to gain notoriety when he's not even from here. So he was using all the Chicago violence, making his own way with Chicago violence, not even being a Chicago person, first of all, not like reporting like from the news. He would say he was like reporting the news from the streets of Chicago, from New York, mind you. And then when Vic was on the show one time, he was talking about someone who was murdered, and Vic was friends with this person, and Vic's like, you have no business talking about what do you know about this person? How do you know them? I know them, and this affected my life. And you're acting like it's some TV drama.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how I saw academics. I was never a fan of that kid.
Yeah, so Freddie Gibbs is going to give him what he deserves because he's not going to let up.
Well, you can't have that type of energy that he put out. He's kind of getting what he deserves because he would always back up those loudmouths and the rabble rousers. Anybody who was making ratchet music, so to speak, and I'm not knocking any of the artists out there, but anything that was pushing that negative agenda in a weird sort of way, pushing just a very very hedonistic type of lifestyle is the best way to put it. Just kind of debaucherous in either the drug culture or like the abuse of the body culture, whether it's murder, whether it's stripping or whatever. And he said that that's what it's all about, and he knew better. So that's why it's hard for me because I know he know better. So
and he went like
that's me being judgy. I don't know him as a person. He could that could be his angle, and that's what he's doing to get paid. And if that's what he's doing to get paid, then he's got to be ready to just suffer the consequences of people who can't tolerate that.
To me, it felt like he didn't even really know the music or listen to the music. He was just jumping on the drama that went along with it and using the drama to perpetuate his own site,
Sounds like a culture vulture to me.
His own brand.
So this is what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking, it goes along the lines of a lot of things that I hear people telling me, like, "Hey, I just want to go to the club and I just want to turn up, or I just want to, listen to turn up music, or music that doesn't really mean anything." And what's crazy is we're in this time where right now the music needs to mean everything.
It does.
So for him, he was just like, yo, like I just want to listen to this because this music makes me feel good. This is the turn up music. And right now, like we're at this place, like I said, we're at this place where we need more than just that. So
you need balance.
Yeah, there's a balance, but the whole thing is that the definition of turn up music it changes. Because turn up for us is you had Simon Says get the fuck up. That you turned up to that. When you heard powerful impact, boom from the cannon, that was turn up music.
There was messages in the party music. There was tons of messages.
It wasn't even about the party. It was just it was hard hitting, and it made you want to jump around. It made you want to bounce. It had the same type of energy. You kind of frenetic and wanted to get kinetic. I mean, even Jump Around by House of Pain made you want to go bouncing around with each other in the club. So I mean, they can't give me that. I just want to go turn up. It's like, yeah, you want to turn up, but find the proper turn up music, man.
To me, my turn up music. If I'm gonna use the term turn up music to make myself feel a certain way, as far as hip hop that I grew up with, would be MOP for me.
See,
of course.
I'm being I don't want to sound hypocritical because I love Cameron and 2 Chainz, my motherfucker. I fucks with Chainz. Excuse the language. And I'm just saying, you know, when the Window to the Wall came out, it's on that. I like my ratchet music too, but it's like you say, balance. And I ain't calling that ratchet. I'm just saying I do bump Too Short, Freaky Tales, that bang in the trunk.
There's a time and place for everything.
You know,
that's exactly Carlos.
Some Second to None, some AMG. I'm just saying, you know, we want to go. There's some 2
Pen-off players click.
Exactly. So it's always what's the definition of what you call it, like turn up music?
It depends on how hard I want to turn up.
Yeah.
That's when you get some psychodrama. That's when you get some psychodrama. Or you get some A-Ball and MJG up in your life. That's when you go and grab you some of that to the club up.
I mean, straight up, that's workout music for me.
Nuck give you buck. Nuck give you, I mean.
Is that why, hey, Risky, is that why it looks like you don't have a neck? Risky be like, he at the club like this, at the health club.
So, I mean, you'll see my MOP tape busted.
Nice.
That CD be having like laser burns on it.
And that Kendrick Lamar, that damn album was a bunch of turn up music.
Yeah.
And there was good messages in that.
Yeah, Kendrick's a good example of perfect balance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's like we're feeding carrots to a fed horse. We give Kendrick Lamar accolades still, but it's a talented young man, right?
I love Kendrick.
He knows his craft. I cannot take that away from him. He not only does he have the lyrics, but unlike some other artists who shall forever remain nameless, he knows how to pick a good beat to go with his lyrics too.
You talking about Vanilla Ice again?
And
I mean, you said nameless, but I think we all know who you're talking about.
And he knows how to craft an album from beginning to end.
Yeah.
You could. I'm sorry, the man that is a talented young man. If you happen to hear this, Kendrick, young Mr. Lamar, keep doing what you're doing because, yes, you are what my generation, the people who came before you are the epitome of the MC, the rapper, the mic controller, the lyricist that we all wanted to hear out there come from the generation. And that's not taken away from you, J. Cole. I'm seeing you out there, JID. There's some other cats out there who I can't
Anderson
name,
Paak.
but I would, yeah, you know, Anderson Paak. I like Myson. I like Hobson. Y'all got flow. Tech Nine out there. Nina with it, you know.
Tech Nine's coming out with some fire too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like doing it, but Tech Nine is probably more my generation, our generation, than anything. He's an old head. So, but I'm just saying, like,
has Kendrick done anything since Damn? He definitely hasn't done an. He definitely hasn't done an album since then. I don't think.
Was the Untitled, like the Unmastered project? Was it after Damned?
That was right after Damned.
Yeah, it was kind of the same thing. So like time wise, it's hard. Yeah.
What I think the Black Panther soundtrack came out after that, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good. Yeah,
and that was all Top Dog, so it was all like kind of. I mean.
Yeah, he was supposed to executive produce it. Yeah, I believe he was the executive producer.
He's on half the songs and.
Yeah.
So, quick question for you guys. Now that you guys are just dumping all this knowledge on us, so for those of you that don't know, that might be watching this, and who am I kidding? If you're probably not watching this because we talk stuff that you probably aren't interested in, but so the history of hip hop, specifically the music and emceeing and stuff like that, was very relevant to what was happening in the community at any given moment, right? Mm-hmm. So now with everybody on lockdown and we got the corona out here, or we got COVID, has any other infection or whatever ever had more nicknames than Corona, COVID? Like, it has
call it
about
the vids too.
The Rona.
The vids, the Rona.
Got the Rona. But how do you guys see the current situation affecting music in the very near future? Is everyone's going to be like, I'm on lockdown, but not in jail. I'm going to be locked down in my living room. You know what I mean?
You did that, Carlos.
I think people start going.
You did that. You did that, Carlos. Get your big Akon lockdown.
Don't make me. You know I'm working on a new record.
I know you are.
I think more people will go outside their body.
I think
they'll start getting outside of themselves music-wise.
Yeah.
Are we talking about specifically like the music itself, or just the music industry? Because clearly this is having a big impact on artists not being able to perform and to collect, to make money in the places that they were making most of their living off of. I think and how is that going to affect people's art going down if an artist who was barely struggling, making it as an independent artist, is now trying to do like any of us, pay the rent, pay for food, that kind of stuff.
But I will say, artists weren't necessarily making money off of shows anyway. You know what I mean? Because they have these 360 deals that are out here that you guys better start owning all your stuff. Better start paying attention to these contracts.
But
people I think are making money off of you. You might as well make money too.
But I think that's still though the major artist. I think there's still the majority of artists are still independent, and they make the most of their money on their shows and their merch. I think if you're a major label artist, then you're definitely more than likely into that 360 deal if you're that artist. So you're getting hurt from all angles. But I think if you're an independent artist, you're still making the majority of your money from touring and being able to do that. So I think that's still like somebody signed to an indie label or doing it themselves. They don't have a 360 deal. That's if you're signed to Universal or, something like that.
The big money folks.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Who those people are probably doing better than the average person anyway. So is this, how much is this affecting them?
Yeah, it all kind of depends on, if you're a small label, what kind of deal you got, right? If you're a small label and you got a distribution deal but you're handling everything else on your own and everything you're dealing with in-house, you can limit the amount of money that's going out. You guys can end up being profitable. And the biggest thing now with shows being rough is going to be merch, like being creative. T-shirts, since no one really buys physical music anymore.
Shadow Master pants.
There is an uptake on vinyl, on physical. Physical vinyl might be the only way to actually sell physical music right now. Crazy enough, when we did our record last year, I did a small run of CDs just to do it. I got a really good deal on actual real press CDs, pressed up a few hundred, and almost sold out of all of them. I was super floored how much I sold them for $5. They cost me like, I was making probably a few dollar profit. They probably only cost me $1 or $2 when it came down to it. But I was floored how quickly. I thought I would be sitting on hundreds of CDs for years, and having to give them away later. But almost all of them sold out, and the vinyl flew, and T-shirts, like I sold out of T-shirts right away. I personally think now, because you don't have shows, it's going to have to be coming out with creative things, and T-shirts are going to be killer packaging. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go like if you're looking for like a specific vinyl, let's say like the Run of Jewels vinyl. If you go to the website, they have like the vinyl, the tape, and like a hoodie. Like there's these packages that they have, and they're selling like that's how people are selling their stuff now. So yeah.
And
why it's important to own your brand.
It's can we say that this change was coming no matter what because of the democratization of the music industry? Thank you, social media. You finally did something good. But this change was coming and it was almost inevitable, but being on lockdown kind of expedited that process, no?
Not necessarily, because those people who were in position to make those moves were the ones who are benefiting from it already. I don't think anyone necessarily started doing more. If anything, I think people may have slowed down more music creation, except for those who were consistently already doing it.
Yeah.
Because
my thing is this.
I don't think people are being as creative as they were before the lockdown. I think a lot of people have gotten really complacent.
This is my thing. My new dirty secret is I'm falling in love with YouTube rappers, and YouTube rapper beefs are wonderful. And if you haven't jumped on any of those, man, look up Dax, DAX. Look up KSI. Look up who else? There's a few others that I wasn't prepared for this part of the talk, but there's some YouTubers out here and they're killing the game. And even Machine Gun Kelly is like resurrecting his music career after buried him. But those guys, they're nonstop. They continue to come out with music. Is there something that the big fellas with all the money is there something that they should be paying attention to, social media wise? Anyone? We can change the subject. We can change the subject too. No, what I'm saying is, all these big fellas that or big people that we're just talking about, they might have slowed down, but if you're paying any attention to some of the YouTube rappers, those guys are coming out with music almost every week.
Oh, no, those are the ones who were already constantly coming out with new music all the time.
Yeah.
Is Dax the one with the dreads, red? Yeah. I've seen that young man. Yeah, he's been putting out work consistently and constantly on the YouTube. That's how I'm still up on Hobson and other people like Mice. And there's those guys, they've already established that type of, I'm not gonna say habit, but that productivity. They're still hitting their stride. If anything else, they may have ramped up production because now they realize that it's their time.
And they literally have a captive audience.
Exactly. So they already had the momentum. As a new person coming in, like a new indie coming in, it'll take a lot to get that traction. You either have to get vined in or hashtagged up to the top by somebody to really get plugged,
And there's a lot of collaboration that's happening too.
Mm-hmm. What I'm interested in seeing is how major label artists are going to, once COVID is has subsided and people can go back into the world and do the things that they could do before COVID, I kind of want to see where the artists go, the famous artists go, because right now people are doing things for the love, like on Instagram or or throwing shows like personal shows for like $3 or $4 on their, via whatever social media or their website. I kind of want to see like what For the Love looks like afterwards, because now it's just like, okay, we're not doing anything. We're stuck in a house. Let's see if we can keep our name going. So we get this DJ Premier versus RZA that we would have never gotten if COVID wasn't a thing. Right. But I think we should have gotten that in some form or fashion because of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But though, unfortunately, we do get that whenever you were Risky play and y'all played those back-to-back RZA joint.
But I mean, the exciting thing, the exciting thing about that is like I was so down when Babyface and
Teddy Riley.
Teddy Riley, thank you. We're going head to head. I was like, oh boy, because let me tell you, some things happened to those two fellas. Like, I don't have a baby girl for nothing. But but the thing is, like, hopefully the industry sees that things like that, like friendly competition, actually brings attention to what you guys are trying to do. Because after COVID, you guys should continue to do things like that, these collaboration efforts, but actually do it to where it doesn't look trashy. Because literally, like RZA and DJ Premier were playing hit after hit, but like it was like one of them was holding his phone up to the speaker. Like the Babyface thing didn't really quite come off that good because I think Teddy Riley was trying to like do all kinds of magical stuff and he was trying to like put it on his website and all this stuff. Like, hopefully social media has shown that we like this stuff. And if you actually put a little production value behind it, it's a viable avenue to go down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. It does. And then is this going to be, and this could be for content across the board, not just music, but is this going to lead to a cheapening of content, like people trying to take advantage of the artists again?
Yeah.
People always try to take advantage of artists because, I mean, artists forever will suffer in blood, sweat, and tears and give everything they have for other people to fucking basically rape and pillage them.
Not if we leverage social media and tell you guys to stop doing that.
That's the great thing about social media is people being able to take control. You know, real quick, Doe worked heavily with a couple very successful, in my opinion, very successful independent labels. He worked with All Natural forever. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to specifically mention Chicago because we know he did promo for Stone's Throw and stuff too. But he's also working now with Machine Wash Music, which they're starting to make headway. They're putting a lot of content coming out from them, in both physical and digitally. Amani here worked with Frontline, who I think at one point was basically running everything at the same level as All Natural and Mole Men were. Again, tons of content. They had a huge roster. Everybody on the roster was sick, and they did everything in-house in control. Yep. They were the foundation. Those labels, Chicago's always had that hustle, right? You've always had a couple people. I'm not going to say sold out. I mean, they went to. I don't want it to sound like I'm saying sold out, but when like Traxxer took Seawall, they jumped to a major and they were able to make a ton of money, and they still stayed independent. I didn't want that to come off like I was saying they sold out. They didn't sell out because they stayed here. They didn't sell the whole label or anything. But Chicago's always kind of had that mentality of owning their own shit. The rest of the industry, don't know. And I think maybe to kind of connect things to Midway, that's part of our story, is maybe because some of these labels didn't sell out to a major industry player and didn't let them take advantage of them. That's why they didn't get the the national recognition they might have could have accomplished.
Yeah.
You know, the talent was there.
It was definitely before the social media push. You had to have. It was at a time to where unless you really, really, really locked down your market, you just had to be a part of the machine to even get the proper oil to put in the gears to get things moving. I mean, payola was still a real thing here in Chicago when we were going around as a record label trying to get on the GCIs and certain other stations at a time.
It just morphed into other things like blogs and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, it morphed from radio to blogs. But I will say this: you mentioned that you guys were before social media, and I'm going to say this. You could. It's hard to argue, but numbers are there. But you could argue for a few different people like Top Dog and Kendrick and a couple other people that came at that beginning of that kind of class that came at the beginning of the social media, right? Kind of like at the height of it. And Chance was there. Chance was pretty much a leader in creating a movement strictly through social media, without a label, without anything. And again, I say that because I'm bringing it back to the Chicago hustle.
Okay, so Chance is a really good example of someone who has figured it out. Do we have any more examples of someone from Chicago who figured out the music industry and like really did it on their own?
Even though he backed out of it, I would have to say Chief Keef.
What do you mean backed out of it?
Well, where's Chief Keef gone? Chief Keef helped to change the sound of music with what he and his team came out with. And he did it all. He was in his house, in his apartment with his homies, and a handheld camera, his cell phone most likely, recording videos with his shirt off.
Yeah.
And I'm just
he changed promotion. He just went on and he changed it into YouTube, and he got an instant audience. And it did help that his lyrics were very, I guess, lack of a better word, hardcore, cutting edge, whatever, threatening, and people love to see that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was full of that teenage angst that everybody loves to hear.
He did change the way promotions were done. Up to that point, they were done streetwise, a street hustle, a show, a flyer, whatever. Come check this out. He bypassed all that, stayed in the safety of his hood, and he could say all those things about all of them people because he's protected by his hood.
And after him, I know we're going to say Ja Rule and 50 Cent maybe, and maybe Tupac. But after Chief Keef, everybody was butt naked from the waist up.
I will say this.
In the crib, just shirtless.
In my opinion, we have to make sure. In my opinion, we have to make sure we include Young Chop as part of that movement because Chop created that sound. And I don't like, which you'll see talked about in great detail, described by Young Chop in the film. He describes the story of the making of I Don't Like, and I Don't Like changed the whole sound and set the whole sound up. Now, he was already making those records with that sound, but that particular song was the one that blew. The crazy thing about that, the story goes, is that was supposed to be Dirk's record.
Oops.
And Dirk and Keith were both in the house. Dirk took off to go do something, and Keith Chop was like, all right, you're up next.
And no offense, and Dirk do his thing. No knock against Dirk, but I don't know if he would have hit that beat like Chief Keef. It might not have been.
Who knows?
It might not have been Bang Bang.
Yeah,
who knows? Definitely, you never know. But that's a tough
Dirk
call.
It didn't affect Dirk because Dirk was able to make his own career. I mean, Dirk got signed to Def Jam, and So
that's
on
what I'm
and
saying.
so forth, so.
But that would have been interesting. That's what I call, like, that's when the music muses. That's when the muses start rearranging pieces on the board, because they like, no, Dirk, you're not supposed to have this one. You're gonna get yours over here. This is supposed to be Keith right here. Because we hear so many tales of how somebody walked into the studio at the wrong time and somebody was playing a dope beat and they just dropped quick 16 and they got on and it's a hit, or somebody had a trash beat that they was about to throw away. From my understanding, Mobb Deep's Shook Ones Part 2 supposed to almost get tossed, and his crew told him not to toss it. Something like that. The things like that happen. It's like the music muse is like, nah, stop. That's supposed to go out to the masses right there. That's supposed to do something. So, yeah, that's interesting. Thank you, resident hip hop historian. Risky business.
Well, I wouldn't have known that if it wasn't for interviewing him for our film.
Once again, you too can be a beast when it comes to Chicago hip hop knowledge by checking out the vignettes and the documentary clips at
Midway, the story of Chicago hip hop.
The story of Chicago hip hop. Shameless plug.
Ding.
That's classic.
No.
So then all these guys are just figuring it out as they go. I mean, a lot like this team, but you know what I mean. At least, like, Ryan and I went to school for like animation and even filmmaking, if you think about it. But we had those resources. We had school. You can't really, well, no, I guess you can. I was going to say, you can't really send someone to school to learn about music, or how to make it big in music is probably a more accurate way to say that. But these guys are just hitting the streets and Chicago hustle. That's the ingredients, right?
To a certain degree.
Yeah, there's some that have, like, you can tell, like, some that have like a basis. Like, if you think about all the kids that came up through Young Chicago Arthurs, which was a Chance and a Vic Mensa, you know what I mean, and a bunch of other people who were taught by great people like Kevin Koval and a couple, like, so many other teachers that teach at Young
Shout
Chicago
out
Arthurs.
Kumba Links.
Yeah.
Kumba Links. Add 2 with Haven.
Yeah, Def C. Yeah, man. Sometimes you do get like classes, or you do get mentored. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that like Chief Keef is one thing, right? Like, just at home, he has the formula, and it just blows. Mm-hmm. But a place like Young Chicago Arthur teaches you that you guys have talent, cultivate your talent, become a crew, and then kill everything in sight. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and that in and of itself goes back to the roots and the core of Chicago hip hop, because there were a few of us that were lone wolves out there when it came to Chicago hip hop, but most of us formed crews. We got together with a crew of people to cultivate the talent, whether it was you getting with your graffiti crew and you getting sharp with your graphing, with going out with your breakers, the MCs, your DJs. You got into these crews to hone your craft and to sharpen your swords, but also for the family and camaraderie. And then we would go out and kill everything in sight.
So what's crazy about what was going on with us, I think when we were doing it, we just got together. When we got together, we were like, holy shit, there's other people like us.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like we were always the weirdos. You know what I mean? Like, or not weirdos, but just the different ones, So when we found people that liked what we like or was a part of the culture, we just was kind of like, hey, shit, you do graph, I do graph too. Let's fucking get up on a Sunday and graph some shit. Not trying to
transfer
do anything. Sunday. Exactly. Not trying to do anything but the culture. But these kids now, they form crews, and what their goal is to become famous. Yeah. You know what I mean? Money. And to get money.
Or get money.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So,
and go ahead.
No, I was gonna not really change the subject, but say, like, we all know that hip hop is a very competitive culture in all aspects, and so seeing as we have two people that worked for local labels here, what I was just going to ask you two, what was the relationship, do you think, between some of the local labels here in the city, and what were the rivalries? Did you guys learn off of each other? Did somebody do something that you thought that was dope, we're going to take that idea? How was that? How was the competition / rivalry between the indie labels here?
I'll let Armani start because I
need. Are we being PC here? Or are we? No.
This is Midway.
Yeah,
slice them.
Frontline were the new kids on the block, so people kind of looked at us like we were young upstarts, so to speak. Even though there were some older heads that were affiliated with the label, and we looked at All Natural and the Mo Men as our direct competition. Mo Men, because they were thoroughly established, they had good network, they had everything on deck with production, and All Natural, and they just put out polished product, man. Like the albums from beginning to end, they were usually really, really butter. Like, I can't. And that's not to say that the Mo Men's albums weren't butter, but the Mo Men tended to go a little bit more with the more battle rappers. When I'm going back and I'm kind of thinking about their catalog or what I really know coming from them, Vakil, Long Shot,
Prime.
Yep.
Yeah, Prime. Most of their business came along from the battle rap. Yeah, Juice. So, they kind of had their lane, but they were competition. Galapagos at the time, not so much. They were peers, so to speak, and there was actually a lot of cross-mogination between Frontline and Galapagos 4 with the artists that were being worked with, and
Quasar was big on with both.
With both Typical Cats and then Copperpot, and yeah, it was just, that was an interesting relationship. So there should have been a lot more collaboration. In hindsight, a lot more collaboration, because I'm just thinking the four of us together as a unit, I think we could have really smashed the Midwest in a really, really ignorant sort of way, in a good ignorant sort of way. But, the competition was there. I know that there was some ill feelings from one crew to another crew because of certain things that happened at a relatively large annual event that took place at a club on the north side on Clark Street. So,
but not saying names. But not naming any names.
We're not saying names.
You gotta say names.
Come on. I think that there may have been a little bit of beef or animosity after a Chicago rock show when Frontline performed, and I can't remember who was on stage, but somebody said something about after party at Ethiopia Cafe down the street, and they might have said we on our way there now. And somebody said like half the venue left. I say maybe a quarter, a third, maybe might have left the venue at that time and went down to the Ethiopia Cafe, which was not the intent. Just want to put that out there. That was not the intent whatsoever. I don't know what was going on because I wasn't on the mic at the time. But yeah, the crowd kind of dissipated, and that's not the bit.
You was at the Ethiopia Cafe.
Yeah, it was at the Ethiopian Cafe.
I said you were there. You were already there.
Yeah, I was already there because we had to get down there and get ready to start setting up stuff. I don't think I was on stage, but it was a lit show.
So from my point of view, so I got into All Natural at the kind of like the end part. You know what I mean? So like early 2000s. So working with like the sister label was like the moment. We worked hand in hand with them. So there was no type of beef ever. like no type of beef ever. And we worked with everybody. Like we work with everybody, like Galapagos. We worked with everybody. So I never saw any beef between All Natural and any of the other labels. Like I think we were just stuck into what we were doing and just trying to keep that going, you know. The Prime Meridian had their sound, the Pacifics had their sound. IMOS definitely had his sound. He had just put out a new album with Fifth Element. So, you know, if you know Fifth Element beats, his beats sound, he has a certain sound to it. So it was just kind of trying to keep that family tree, so to speak, going. And that's just kind of how we did things over there. Like that, I don't think there were any beefs. I think if there were any beef, there were internal beefs. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying.
But that comes with family. You know what I mean? So,
and just to reiterate, shout out Fifth Element. Some of the tracks over there at Frontline, Fifth was down with the Frontline crew as well. He was throwing tracks, you know, still chatting it up with them. He still, you know, so when I say, you know, whenever I say anything about perceived, I'm just saying perceived. I personally never necessarily got any type of ill feelings off of anybody, but that could be just because of the nature of who I am. And anybody else in the crew, you know, it was a crew of 10 people. It was a record label with 10 people on there. And once again, internal beefs of whatever. Not to say that we weren't a crew. It may have been one thing, and then whatever people might have had on the outside. But I just think it was that Frontline, if we felt like it was anything, we felt like we were the upstarts, and we just had to do a little bit more to earn the respect. So our competition was against ourselves, but All Natural and Mo Mim, like I say, would have been it. And we were just trying to make sure we put out as good of a product as they were, if not better, because we were trying to make our stamp, and nothing less was going to do. So that's why it was really hard for us to put out some of those mixtapes. At one time, there was some discussion behind the mixtapes and how they were going to be put out, because we wanted to put them out in a tad bit more polished packaging instead of the white label tops.
Yeah, but without them, you wouldn't have any, you know, goals like, well, they're doing this, we want to do this.
Right. That's exactly what it was. So it was the friendly competition definitely was there, because like I say, it was about making sure we were heads. We were hip hop heads. We knew who paved the foundation. We knew who laid the foundation and paved the way. We knew who we technically had to be as good as or better to even feel like we deserved to be called a thorough record label here in the city. If that makes sense. It was just like, we know what some people were putting out, and it's not a knock against what people were putting out, because they were hustling and they were getting their music out there. But we also know that we were trying to contend and be in a different arena, or at least push the presence of Chicago hip hop into a different arena as well. So yeah, we were definitely trying to put a little bit more polish on how we were packaging our things. And I missed our initial campaign push with the Army Man. I wish we would have kept that. A little green Army Man. That was fun. Sorry, just thinking.
Deep.
That was on the original.
Deep Thoughts with Amani Khan.
That was the original Frontline.
I am special.
Yeah.
What was the name of the album?
Overlooked.
Overlooked, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have like music and stuff from Frontline? Do you still have that stuff?
Yeah, I have everything now except for, I think there may be one Zozair album that I may be missing. And if you guys never heard of Zozair,
which Zozair album is, because I might have that Zozair album.
It's either I gotta check. It's either Day 3. I think he did a Day 3.
What does the cover look? What does the cover look like?
I can't remember.
I'll look for my Zozair album, and if I have it, I'll give it to you.
So secret to all of y'all people who recorded at Frontline out there, you know I was doing engineering and everything, so I might not have actual physical copies of y'all music, but I still got the tracks. And when I say physical copies, I don't have the actual CDs. I have like the first mixes or the final mixes CDs. I can pull out old CDs that we used to listen to that were the final mixes and everything, but no cover art. I even might have One Below album somewhere, a Sonogram album that was mixed.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't mind doing like a revisiting Frontline mixtape. Like I wouldn't mind doing that.
I can get you some material. I'll get you whatever
Let's work on that.
I'm definitely down with that. You want to be down on this one too? We can call it the 81-minute mixtape.
Yeah. Oh, is that what the first one was called?
The first one was the 80-minute mixtape.
You remember the intro that never was?
No, I don't.
So that when I did that first mix, I ended up like they came to my crib and dropped off all the music, and I was like, they were like, it was one of those moments where it was like, yeah, so here you go, and we'll need this like, Tuesday, and I'm like, it's fucking Sunday. And I'm like,
I was there for that. That is correct.
I remember hearing about that at the office later.
And I ended up doing it like out of like sheer adrenaline and anger. And I was like, look, I had love for all you guys, but I was motherfucking each and every one of you all the way through that mix.
I could believe it.
And,
as you deserve to do.
And I did the mix, and I did it in a like 80-minute mix, and however many tracks. It was a lot of tracks.
There was a lot of tracks on there. That was a lot of music.
And I did it in one night, and I called them. Like, I think I left a voicemail. And I'm like, J-Dub, guess what? I'm done with this bullshit ass fucking mixtape. Like, come fucking get this master. And I don't ever want to hear a fucking Frontline song again. Fuck you. Fuck blah blah blah. Fuck fuck all y'all. You're cool. Fuck you. I'm out. And I mean, it was like, and I was like heated. And then like they said that I wish they would have did that too. I think Fifth Element was like Fifth Element was like, we wanted to use that as a.
He probably would have, because I think
it's somewhere. I'm letting you know those hard drives are still around somewhere. It's still somewhere.
It would have been so funny if you would have had me fucking bitching at the beginning. Like, I wish Fifth, because it was Fifth that wanted. If I remember correctly, Fifth was trying to push them to use that, and they didn't. That would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. It's a lot of things. There's a lot of cutting room material around there that hit the cutting floor that shouldn't have, that we still have the pieces to. So yeah, I'm definitely down, Sean. Let's get that. Let's do it.
Word up.
So now that we have 56 minutes in, Ryan, fix your camera, please.
Oh, I think he's trying to.
He's just not going to be talking then.
No, yeah, that was like 30 songs on that mixtape with about five I think skits in between. Risky.
There you go.
You're back.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I did a lot. I just was on a roll that night and just went in on it, and it ended up working out. But yeah, I was like,
aren't you glad we didn't pass you a pile of poo instead? At least it was good music. What if it was bad music?
It was good. And you know what? You know who I discovered that night really for the first time? And I had heard of them and maybe heard the music, but who I really like fell in love with that night.
Dot
already. I love Dot. Dot's
motherfucking safe.
Dot's dope.
Bet you Josh Safe.
And I knew, I was going to say Josh Safe. It was Josh.
Fucking Josh Safe is such an underrated MC.
And there were like freestyles you guys were did, and it was dope because Ja was like So here's the frontline tape, and it's everybody on it. It's all frontline beats, which is all kind of very boom bap at the time. And then the freestyles were all done on anybody that was doing other freestyles is picking their favorite, just like hot ass boom bap shit. And then Ja Safe comes on, and he's rapping over like 3 6 Mafia and all this other shit. And I was bugging. I was like, this guy's fucking amazing. This dude's brilliant.
He still is.
Did you get the Safe mixtape? The Safety First mixtape?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were supposed to meet Ja Safe, but he never came on the show, and I did a drawing of him, so he owes us.
Was he supposed to do an interview, or are you talking about
he's supposed to come on Midway Radio
or the radio?
We got him for the doc. We interviewed him.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to send him a text message right now?
Carlos will call you out. It's okay.
You want me to? I can send him a text message right now and let him know that we talking about him right now.
You can. Just as long as he doesn't get triggered and come after me, I'm good. I don't care.
I'm gonna put him on blast on the Frontline page too. Hey, Ja, what happened to that interview?
His drawing was actually kind of fun because he had a bunch of big booty girls there, and I was just like, that's what I'm gonna draw right there.
He dug that. I'm sure he dug it.
I am in.
I think he's working on something new right now.
Nice. So one thing that I've learned so far listening to these guys talk on this episode is we have a lot of old people talking. Is there somewhere in Chicago for some young cats to get up and start doing some work on music? I mean, I guess young Chicago authors might be.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good start.
That's a good start. Also, Kumba Links. I'm going to say Kumba Links again. They do things. I think that was it the Imam Cafe over off of 63rd Way West. I believe they still have something going on as well. And once the Chicago Public Library opens back up here in Washington.
Yeah. Because this is my point. Like, one of the things that I've noticed doing this is 76 episodes of Midway Radio is when we talk to some of the elders in the Chicago hip hop scene, they talk about how hip hop has taken a turn, and not everyone is impressed with where it's gone or going. Some of us that are in the older generation, we're always talking about like looking back and reaching back and helping these kids along so they don't have to fight some of the battles that we have fought coming through this. And spoiler alert, I got the wheels running on some stuff, or I got the wheels are moving on some stuff, and that's for a later time. But specifically right now, specifically for some of the younger cats that are trying to get that big break, like it just seems like Chicago should be bigger, especially in hip hop. What if we have people like Chief Keef and Chance and Vic? I want to give props to people that are out there doing this and actually teaching the younger generation, actually giving them resources. So I want to use this time to like build up those people that are already doing this, that are already teaching the younger generations. I know, like, for example, Amina has a hip hop history class and stuff like that. Like, if we can be a voice for some people that are trying to educate, I think taking the time to point out, if you're trying to do this, go here. If you're trying to do that, go there. You know, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I think that's No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I think that's kind of always been one of the kind of the sub goals for Midway. There's a lot that we're trying to do, but definitely one of the things that that we want to do, we kind of try to do, but I think it's gonna be there more as the project gets finished. Is for Midway to help be that hub to connect people with the right resources and everything, and that's I think that's definitely something that is part of the goal list, I guess, for the project, for sure.
Yeah. One of the things here, what's interesting is the things kind of had a shift, and now with COVID, I don't know we don't really yet know what places are going to survive. So I'm very curious to see what's going to be offered to the youth post-COVID within the hip-hop community. There'll always be something, because there'll always be innovative kids trying to get other kids together to create, right? In some form, it's art. So you're going to get people that want to get together, like, places like Haven, where you're going to want to either teach kids or get other kids to get together to do either something positive, or like Frontline. When I met Frontline, it was just a bunch of literally kids, because you guys were all young, and yeah, you were 19 years old, man. A bunch of kids in an apartment scraping money up together. Look, I love Seal Fresh, but like, when you saw Seal around, you knew there was some hustle going on, right?
Yeah.
So like it was like hustlers. Like, everybody was like, and I don't mean hustling like you guys were doing shit illegal. You were hustling as in like putting in the work, hustling, staying up all night.
We were hungry.
You were hungry, right? And so there's always going to be that. I just don't know. And the other kind of paradigm shift in the game is now physically that happens, just not in the same space. Kids meet like this and write songs across the world. So that's good. It's a change. I don't know where there's going to be places for kids to go. I know there will be. I don't know what it'll be yet. But yeah, you guys mentioned Amina. Amina's a good place Mina's a good person to talk to, and her place in life where she's teaching the youth hip hop culture through the school, through Columbia, and she's one of the best people to do it. I mean, and I don't mean like she's the best to ever teach. I'm saying her personality type. She's one of the best people to be a teacher. She's very patient, and she just seems like someone you want to learn from, right? Like she just, if I was a kid, that'd be like one of the like main classes you'd want to try to get into is her class, right? Because she's so cool. What she's doing right now is it could develop into something that could kind of see like a young Chicago author. She has the platform to do it.
So I really want there to be a school of hip hop, almost kind of like it's a school of rock. It needs to be its separate school. I didn't want it to be its separate school at first. I thought like at one point I was going around the school of rock like, hey, I got this hip hop class that I think that you guys would benefit off of. It would probably bring more people here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like it never can catch on with the school of rock. So I think that, not wanting to separate the music, but the fact is that hip hop is its own thing. It has so many elements that it probably should be taught in its own school, right? And I would like to see something like that happen. And I think that could blow, just almost kind of like how the School of Rock is, around the city of Chicago.
Did you ever go to University Hip Hop when it was open?
You know what? I heard about it, but I did not go.
Yeah. I think it was on Kedzie in like 63rd or 64th or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember it, yeah.
Yeah. I remember one year we had KRS-One was performing at the Vic or something. Mm-hmm. And we chatted, and I took him to the University of Hip Hop, and he was like, "What? There's a University of Hip Hop here?" I'm like, "Yeah, you gotta go. Come check out the kids." And he did. We took him to the center, because obviously it's not a university; it's for kids. But
yes,
that's what it was called. And he came in and he talked to the kids and he wowed them, and it was awesome.
So now that we're talking about a university of hip hop, I have an interesting train of thought or a line of questioning. We noticed that hip hop is offered in numerous other institutions, whether it's them offering a spoken word class, whether they're teaching hip hop dance at some prestigious ballet center, whether they're teaching a DJing class at someone's center. Why is it that it's been so hard to house this all under one roof or one umbrella instead of having, like I say, a hip hop dance class in one location and then a DJ class in another? Because I know there's people offering these programs or programs that would fit the bill through places like After School Matters, through other organizations. I offer programs. I'm about to start teaching a spoken word class July 14th online. So that's another way, that's another place where the children are going to have to go for this. I was approached to teach the program, and I'm teaching a spoken word program online through Zoom or what have you. So that's going to be interesting in and of itself. So,
do you have any information on where? Do you have any of the information on where people can go for that yet, or is that still all being planned?
Oh, well, that's already been planned. It's for another organization that I'm contracting for, so they already have their roster and everything. Full.
Yeah, I wanted to see if anybody's listening or if anybody's interested in knowing more about it. So
yeah, if anyone's interested, the organization is called Common Thread. Common Threads. It's a nutrition-based organization, so it's pretty much health education. So there's a physical aspect to it as well. I'll be teaching a capoeira class for the organization, and so that's one. If you're also looking, I'm going to say once again, Young Chicago Authors. They offer programming like that. Kumba Links offers dance, spoken word, a couple of other things. And After School Matters. If your child is in a Chicago public school, high school in particular, look into the After School Matters program. After School Matters, I'm giving y'all a plug. Remember us. I'm just saying, I've worked for After School Matters, and they have a huge offering of different programs. The issue is just making sure that you check through everything that they offer, from basketball to archery to digital beat making to crocheting. They got a lot of things for the children to do, and they work in tangent with Gallery 37. It's still Gallery 37, right? They didn't change it to like one of the other things over there. So yeah, those are places that you youngsters can go look for activities to keep you busy. And once again, you have the internet, children. You have the internet. Use it for more than TikTok. Edify yourself.
Stop using and for real, stop using TikTok. There was an engineer that broke TikTok down, and TikTok is a Chinese company, and if you know anything about communism, if it belongs to a corporation in China, it belongs to China. So be careful with that TikTok stuff.
They got all of y'all doing those goofy dances, and it's gonna come back to hunt y'all later on. I'm just joking.
Kinda, yeah. Stop doing those facial recognition things. Nobody wants to see you old.
Did you see Ryan's face?
We can wait.
Ryan's face when you said that was hilarious. Like,
I'm agreeing.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. So let's go with B-Boy B.
Yep, B-Boy-B. You can find me at B-Boy-B_ABC for Artistic Bombing Crew.
Tight. Amani.
You could find me on IG, aka Instagram, at Chicago Griot. CHICAGOGRIOT.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a lively discussion. I've learned a lot. Let's see. How about DJ Risky Business?
You can find me at DJ Risky Biz 1975 on Instagram, and that's it.
Excellent. Thank you, sir, for your time. DJ Sean Doe.
Yo, you can find me at DJ SEANDOE on Instagram.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. I'm Carlos. You can find me at Coconut Justice pretty much everywhere. And before I let you go, as a tool to help you guys get all learned up on all the stuff that we're talking about, and even some stuff that's not quite so heavy, sponsored by the public library, go out and get an app called Hoopla, HOOPLAH. You can rent or borrow. You can borrow all kinds of books. They have ebooks, they have movies, they have music, they have pretty much whatever you find in the library they have here, and you can have on your mobile device. So I am a huge champion of educating and reading, if you haven't heard. So yeah, go get that Hoopla, and then you'll see a bunch of books on there. They even have like a section now for Black History or Black Lives Matter movement and stuff. So go get learned up on that. That's it for me. Ryan?
You can find me on Instagram at 278media. The number is 278 and media. Same on Twitter as well. And, of course, follow the Midway Documentary Project at midwaydocumentary.com. It'll have links to all of our social media there, and go to YouTube, which is where hopefully you're watching or listening to this at. Subscribe to our channel, share our content, and that's how we kind of help keep this shit moving. So thank you everybody for listening again.